Today, you've all come in because of this lockdown blues, the uncertainty around us, the fact just so much going on around, and everything is new. For us, it's difficult to
Right
process.
then.
Okay, so survival itself is under question. But we do have a lot of tools inside us that God has created, that our creator has created, whether you believe in God or not, whatever. Somebody who's created us has designed the body, the mind in a particular way. Any creation needs a design. Okay, so there's a logic, there is a way it operates. So we are going to discover a little bit about ourselves and what we have inside us, which we can tap into so that we can become survivors and we can thrive. It's not just enough to survive, but we want to thrive, right? Nobody wants to just exist. Nobody wants to just survive. So we are here to discover that. It's a short 1.5 hour workshop. So I'm going to have a set of presentations which may take about 45 minutes. So I'll just provide you some information and I will prompt you when you can ask me questions, in which case you can ask me. So it's not like you're going to wait till the end of it. If any of you have a question, you can put it in the chat box so that at least I get to see it or we'll keep track of it. So don't lose your questions. Either you can have a notebook and write down. I suggest you keep a notebook because there will be some things for which you might have to calculate and you might need to do it yourself. So you keep a notebook and pen with you just in case, because you never know what you're going to discover, which is going to be useful for you. And you don't want it to go out of memory, right? So just keep a notebook and pen with you so that it, yeah, go ahead, Karkuri. So just get your notebook and pen. In the meanwhile, each of you can just type your name and city. That's it. Just type in the chat box your name and city so that we know where you're from. Good. Vinita Chennai, Senthil Chennai, great, welcome Senthil. Who else do we have?
Hi Iggy and hi team.
Hi Senthil. Nice DP, very colorful.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so Tony Chennai, Sharad Chennai, okay, all Chennaites. Good, Manoj Kumar Jha, Chennai, my former neighbor. Good to see you here again. Lost touch for some time. Sharad, also Chennai. Okay, very good. Good.
I'm back here, Iggy. I'm Karkurali. I'm also from Chennai.
Karkuli from Chennai, Manish from Dhanbad. Yes, Manish, welcome. So in case, all right, let me see, because I don't know if Manish, you'll be able to, I hope you'll follow it in English because you might need Hindi translation. If you need, you just type in the chat box, need translation. Somebody, I think Vinita or someone here can help. I'm sure Dibya will also come, so probably she'll also be able to help.
No problem.
I don't know if she's well enough to come. She's not well. So let's see. So all of you are in, you have your notebook and pen. Are we ready to start? Ready means type ready. If you're ready to start, just type ready and we can start off. Yes, Manish. Manish, Vinita, all ready. Good. Okay. Let me start with this. Good. Let's just dive straight in because once you see this, you'll have a lot of questions. I want time for interaction. So good. I hope you can all hear me clearly. If you cannot, just type in the chat box.
Now we can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay, super. So the first question to you is, see, in this workshop, there's a lot of internal travel you're going to do. You're going to travel because I'll ask you some questions which will help you to look inside because the answers are inside you. And if it comes from inside you, you own it. All right. And you'll be able to do something about making the changes you might need to do. Perhaps you don't need, perhaps you need. We don't know. We will see at the end of it. But at least you will dive in to look in. So what would happen if we never slept? Please type your answers here. or since there are just fewer people, you can even unmute and speak. You can either raise your hand or tell me, I'll read out your name and you can speak. Who's that? Yeah, Sharad, go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hi, Ignatius.
Sir, if possible, please tell in Hindi, sir.
Manish, when I call your name, you please speak. Otherwise, type in the chat box.
मनीष जी, सॉरी फॉर इंटरवीनिंग, मनीष जी कुछ चाहिए तो मैं हेल्प करती हूँ साइड से, नो प्रॉब्लम.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Super. Thank you, Vinita. Thank you, Manish. Okay. So, Sharad, go ahead.
Yeah, so what would happen if we never slept? Well, if I never slept, I think I'd...
Can you be louder, Sharad?
Yeah, sure. Is that loud enough?
No.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah, okay.
He's fine.
Yeah,
Is
okay,
that-
okay. Go ahead. Yes.
No, my volume is pretty loud actually at the moment.
Good,
Yeah.
it's good. Okay, I had muted.
Yeah, so what would happen if I never slept? I think I'd be extremely tired and probably not be able to focus. B, on the other hand, I don't know, because I do a lot of pranayama and yoga and stuff like that. And I find that my sleep seems to be decreasing. I mean, my need to sleep seems to be decreasing. So not very clear about this, but yeah, I guess I would probably be a little not very focused.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, Sharad, you're an outlier. So you're doing pranayama.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
You're an
Absolutely.
outlier, so we will keep
Absolutely.
that.
Twice a day. Yeah.
We'll come back to that.
Sure.
Anyone else wants to take a, yeah, we will die. A productivity guru. Senthil, perfectly right. So the Guinness Book of World Records says the highest was 11 days. Okay. That was in 1963 or some 30, 40 years back. Then they stopped it because it was so dangerous. When people tried to do it, they ended up dead. Okay, so they didn't want to have more and more people go for that world record and stop that contest for who can sleep longest or who can stay longest without sleep. So the fact is it's fatal if you can never sleep. And forget the fact by design it is fatal. Just imagine if every time it was day, 24 hours daylight or 24 hours awake, life would become too dull. Okay, just because of the contrast, life is interesting. The richness is because of the balance. We are able to balance night and day. We are able to balance sleep and awakefulness. These two need a balance. When they go out of balance, that is when you have a problem. So let's find out what the balance is. And let's keep the outliers out. We will discuss that separately. Okay. So what would happen if you reduce 2 hours from your daily sleep? Just 2 hours. You sleep only 6 hours. Actually, Manish ji has suffered that for many years. Okay, he's actually paralyzed. It started with lack of sleep, then it became paralysis. So he attended one of my deep sleep programs. So he's here, I think. And so I've met people who had very bad things happen to them because of less sleep. As they reduced sleep and then they could not get sleep and they wanted to. See, initially it's by choice. We exercise a choice to reduce our sleep. All right, if I get 2 hours daily and in a month I get 60 hours, it's almost like I've got an additional week, right, for work. And a lot of people think that for 4 weeks, if I'm earning, let's say 4 lakhs. So if I put 5 weeks, I'll earn 5 lakhs, right? So people look at it like I can earn more, but that math doesn't work. Okay, the whole concept of this is for you to see what is crucial, what is essential for you to be productive and succeed in life. So that's what we're going to look at. So if we reduce 2 hours from our daily sleep, what would happen is there would be a fogginess in your head. It'll start first with a fogginess, a loss of concentration. Okay. And slowly deteriorate with reaction time will be reduced. This is just in 1 day of less sleep. And this man, Matthew Walker, Professor Dr. Matthew Walker, he is the person who's I've learned most from about sleep. because he's a sleep scientist who's worked on this field for more than 20 years. And they've done enormous research to find what happens to people when they are sleep deprived just for 2 hours a day. For 3 days, what happens? For 1 day, what happens? For 1 month, what happens? So these people have the luxury of conducting sleep studies, and they have the facilities to conduct such sleep studies. Based on these studies, I've prepared this presentation because it helps us to learn quickly what we require. We don't want to do that research, right? I want to know how much sleep I should do. What is right? What is wrong, right? Why should I sleep? Why should I not sleep? All of these things are, because they're all debatable. A lot of confusing information going around. So the idea is to get this right. So if you were to notice what he says, if he slept enough, our healthcare burden itself would plummet. We would, because what is, during sleep, what is happening is your body is healing itself. There's no medicine, there's no doctors, there's no spend. Without doing any of this, you are giving your body time to repair the burnt cells, the broken DNA, flushing out the, you will see all those other things that it does. I will further down. So there is a whole load of positive benefits that this gives, which makes it surprising that we are not taking it. Okay, so I will come there. In terms of sleep numbers, a lot of us think, 6 hours enough, 4 hours enough. We hear, a head of a spiritual organization saying something like, I sleep only 3 hours. And for last 30 years and 40 years, I've slept like this. Okay, so some people believe that, okay, why can't, if he can do it, why can't I do it? Or if Elon Musk can do it, why can't I do it? If you're idol, somebody you look up to, somebody who's very successful, and you feel if they have done for last 10, 20 years, if I do the same, I will get the same results. Okay, a lot of us equate it like that. But it's very simplistic, because what they do to make sure that they're able to survive with that schedule, they have not fully exposed that to you. Okay, and you cannot recreate that also, because you cannot live in their house, in their type of surroundings, with their type of stress and pressure. That is completely different. You're living in a different environment. Their environment is different, your environment is different. And what you need, only your body will tell you yourself. Your body will tell you, the mind will tell you. You listen to your body, your mind, you get connected with that, you will be able to align yourself better. Even though we have scientific numbers like this, like let's say Mr. Sharad may say, for 6 hours I'm sleeping last 5 years or 10 years. I'm doing this A, B, C, D extra things. So and this is perfectly fine for me, for example. All right. So that is working for him. It's tried and tested, and he does. So we can leave it like that. But how do we get proof? Proof is when you go into a lab and you actually fit those electrodes on you and find out what exactly happens in a 24-hour cycle. Okay, when are you in peak performance? When are you subpar performance? What is happening because of the activities you're doing or not doing? So based on that, only you will get to know. But otherwise, you just get a general sense of well-being. And a lot of insomniacs, people who have not been able to sleep, you sleep only 2-3 hours also, over a time, their mean gets, that is, their body adjusts. It looks like it's normal. It's normal to sleep 2-3 hours. But the fact is, they may cut down their lifespan from 100 years, they may reduce it to 40 years also, or 50 years, or 60 years. Because their body is trying to work against the pressure which has been put on it by the lack of sleep. All right. So we don't know the extent of effect unless you go into a lab and get it checked. So for now, we go with what scientists have given as the right figure. So most of us are about 21. So 8 hours is 7 to 9. If you notice a dark patch, that is the right hours. The blue patch is wrong. Whether it's less or it's more, it's not right. It's about balance. And you'll find out more about it as we go along. Okay. So what is your sleep score? Let us find each one's sleep score here. You're going to look, there is a Google form. I'm going to send you that. I mean, we'll forget the Google form. You have a notebook and pen. Why don't you mark yourself? You have this SATED questionnaire. It's a world premier questionnaire for sleep worldwide, developed by Pittsburgh University. So satisfaction, alertness, timing, efficiency, and duration. You self-score it. Once you self-score, you can put your score in the chat box. So let me start with the first one, satisfaction. If you're fully satisfied with your sleep, always, then it is 2. Sometimes you're satisfied, it is 1. Rarely means 0. That's how you put your score. So first one, are you 0, 1, or 2? Put that. Next, alertness. Are you able to stay awake all day without dozing? If yes, always, it's 2. Next is timing. Are you asleep or trying to sleep between 2 a.m. to 4 a.m.? If you're asleep always at that time, it is 2. If you're trying to sleep, only then you're trying to get back to sleep. Okay, you're struggling to sleep. That is, you're not actually asleep. You're now planning to go. Then it becomes rarely or never, 0. So if you're sleeping or you just woke up for a few minutes and trying to go back to sleep, that's okay. You're 2. If it is longer than 5, 10, 15 minutes you're trying, then you're not actually sleeping. Then only it gets to sometimes and rarely. So that's timing. The fourth is efficiency. Vinita is 5. You already got your score. Okay, and duration. If you're sleeping 6 to 8 hours, that is 6, 7, 8 hours, it's 2. Otherwise, if it's less or more, accordingly you put it. I've been tried to this whole life. Okay. Vinita 5, Sharad, Karkuli, Manish.
Yeah, just give me 2 minutes.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Karkurali here, Iggy. I'm on 8.
Karkuli, okay. You're not able to type Karkuli?
Oh, you want me to put it on the chat? Or?
Yeah, on the chat, yeah.
Can you please tell something about efficiency, please?
Efficiency means you're spending less than 30 minutes awake at night. That means overall in an 8-hour sleep, only 30 minutes you're awake. So when you get to bed, it may take you 10, 15 minutes to fall asleep. And then you may wake up, let's say at 3 or 4 in the morning for whatever, and you take another 5, 10 minutes and you go back to sleep. So in the sleep time, one portion is an awake time. That is a time when you're in bed and looking to sleep. That is called the awake time because you're in bed and you're ready to sleep, but you're not yet asleep. That's awake time.
Got it.
Okay. So all done. Manoj, Tony is done. 4. Okay. Sharad 1, 2, 2, 1, 1. Okay. Right.
I thought that's more convenient.
Okay.
Okay.
6, 7. Okay, cool. All right. So good. I think we've got everybody's. Manoj is done. Oh yeah, Manoj is done. Okay. I don't have any problems. Okay, very good. Very good. So how does this score affect you? We will find out how this affects you. Now, suppose you're less than 7. Okay, less than 7 or less than 6. That means you're getting less than 6 hours of shut-eye last night. Even one night, then your eyes blur, your brain becomes a little difficult to concentrate or remember things. Skin, your dark patches happen, skin sags a bit. All of this happens with just one night of too little sleep. When you have multiple nights from missing sleep, then all of these start happening. This is just a quick short image of how it affects your brain, your body, your emotions, because we have a mental body, we have a physical body, and we have an emotional body. All of these bodies are affected. We will not go into spiritual body and other bodies. For context of today's talk, we'll only stick to mental, physical, emotional. Okay, so in terms of your ability to contract diseases because of this increases tremendously. So most 80% of diseases which hit those who are 60 and below typically would be related to the fact that they've deprived themselves of sleep, because it starts there. That is a foundation. So I'd like to tell you, I'd like to give you a idea of how old sleep is, how long it took to design it, and what we are doing in the last 20, 30 years. Because whatever is the shift in our patterns, it started 100 plus years ago with the invention of the electrical bulb. Because from there onwards, we started shifting our our rhythm of going to bed. Because now we have light at night. So we can recreate day. And then we found computers, then internet, then social media. Now we have mobile phone, which has everything. Okay, so yeah, we'll cover oversleep also. We will cover it a little later. So in terms of sleep, as I told you, oversleep, you should have put negative marks because above 9 hours is negative marks in your SATed questionnaire. That's how you have to treat it. So our Earth itself is 4.5 billion years old. Okay, just to give you an idea, and this is a quick, I don't want to go too long into history and thing, but a quick glance here would tell you that we as man, we are just a small sliver of overall life. And life as it developed from rock and water and all of that, it came with single cell, then multicellular, then fish, plants, mammals. So let's look at 500 million years old. 500 million years back is the first time an organism slept. Okay, so this is about, see, this 500 million year old worm, scientists have found that's the first discovery of sleep. Then whether it's a dinosaur or the crocodiles, the apes, all of them have different types of sleep, most of them in their own habitat. And man, that is from apes which lived on trees, man came down and lived on the ground 1.5 million years ago, started living on land. And that is when we started sleeping at night. That 8-hour sleep was designed at that time. That's how old sleep is. That is just to give an idea of 1.5 million years ago, that evolution brought on sleep. And in the last 20 years, the changes we are making to sleep, it is putting pressure on it. Okay. Let me give you another point here. We are a dominant species. We'll all agree, right? We are able to control our environment. We are able to go to space. We are able to traverse continent to continent like that. We don't need to actually physically move our body. We just sit in an aircraft and it takes us. So we've created so much of technological marvels for ourselves that we feel that we are beyond nature. I want you to remember this. That is the whole cause of this issue. That we think our scientific heritage, our modern scientific heritage, gives us the ability to break out of nature and do things which goes against nature. Okay, and which is why we have started attacking sleep. The attack on sleep has happened because we believe that we are developing the ability to do it. Okay, but my submission here is, it's because of the way we sleep, those 8 hours, what happens in our mind, we have become this smart. Okay, the smartness to make us the predominant species on earth has been done only because of sleep. That's what scientists have found, that life was born from sleep. Because during sleep, let's look at a fetus in a mother's womb. The fetus is sleeping for something like 17, 18, 20 hours because the brain development is happening. All the neurons are being built, neuronal connections are being made. And just before birth, that last few weeks, is when the REM sleep maximum happens. During REM sleep, all the synaptic connections are made, memories are consolidated, because even the fetus was getting inputs though it is in the womb, through the mother, it gets the inputs of what's happening outside in the environment, and it is got encoded, it's learning. The fetus is learning within the womb, and all those memories are getting formed just before birth. So the brain, the prefrontal cortex is now set just before it is born. Before that, the brain starts growing from the spinal cord, and it grows like the front of the brain is actually at the back of our head. Okay, the medulla oblongata. From there, it grows and folds back along the prefrontal cortex and goes back. So that is how the brain is, the structure is. So all this has prepared us for life, all right? And it has made us this smart. Where sleep was impacted, those kids have ADHD and other issues, which are autism and other things which are not able to get out of because of impairment of sleep during that time. Okay, that impairment has caused these diseases, and these are things which have astonished scientists to find. That's why they tell pregnant women don't drink, don't do, because this affects the brain development of that child, right? And these, unfortunately, we have lost that ability to go back to sleep. Why I'm bringing this up to you, to tell you that it's so critical that we get that full amount of sleep, so that the 16 hours we are awake, we can be at 100%. Your best abilities are brought to the table. Your fullest potential is brought to the table because of that 8 hours. And by stealing those hours one by 1 hour or half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, we have consistently made ourselves lesser and lesser and lesser of a person. We have not made ourselves better because we stayed awake those hours. We made ourselves worse. We have diminished our capacity to operate at our fullest potential because we didn't give the brain enough REM and non-REM sleep for it to fully repair, consolidate memories, do the problem solving, and set us forth for the day. It's like pulling out the car halfway through service and say, enough, let's go. Okay, so imagine what happens in that car which is just dragged out like that halfway. You don't know which is going to fail. Is it a brake? Is it an accelerator? Is it the fuel pump? You won't know which is going to fail. And that is what is happening when we pull it away. Yes, Gomez, I'll talk about oversleep also. So that 8 hours sleep gives a proper rest. And it's only that 7.5 hour or 8 hour of sleep required, but that it is totally required. We will talk a little more about how sleep itself is designed, so you'll understand this. So the average daily sleep totals of different animals is given here. This is just for you to get. Ours is 8 hours again. And some of this species, how they sleep, is very interesting. So I thought you might also find it interesting. Dolphins have they have a two bi-hemispheric, right? Two hemispheres of the brain. One half goes to sleep, the other half is awake, and it can, because a dolphin, if you fall fully asleep, what happens to us when we sleep? Our muscles, our body tone, everything goes down. We don't have control, right? So if we don't have a bed, we will drop. Correct? We cannot hang in the air, or we cannot swim, right? So the swimming fish or mammal requires the muscles to move it, to keep it afloat. And that happens because one half of the brain is awake, the other half is sleeping. So once one half gets its quota, the other half comes on. And it is beautifully synced. So dolphins sleep in that fashion. Second, these birds, you are seeing the geese. Geese go in this V formation. The front bird, okay, is fully awake. So both sides are awake, fully alert, and it's seeing what is happening. The ones on the left flank have their left eye awake. The right eye is asleep. Okay, and they are drifting on that. They have created that wind, right, because of that formation. So the ones in the center can fully sleep, and they keep rotating like that. That is how they travel for months across tens of thousands of kilometers in their migratory thing. So the sleep of these birds also have been measured to see how they sleep, so that they've evolved and developed these abilities so that they can survive in their environment and they can be the way they have been designed to be made. And human sleep has also been designed in a particular manner for that. Okay, so this is just to tell you about why it is designed like that, how it is designed like that. Second, why am I showing you this of a dirty kitchen sink and a clean one? The dirty kitchen sink is your mind when you've not slept. When you've not slept during the day, you're cooking, you're making things, right? Every day you're working. You're getting, whether you're working or not working, your eyes are open, you're getting sight, you're getting sound, you're getting inputs. Every day you're getting inputs. Those inputs are going into your brain. Now, these are all inputs. So ingredients are going on, coming in. Now it is not sorted out. It is not put in its particular place. So it's all a mess. All right, that is what is happening inside. There is toxins which are created because of all the what we are getting as inputs, right? And at night, it gets sorted. So at night, the brain moves data from temporary storage to long-term storage. That from the hippocampus, it moves it to the cortex so that it is stored for memory. That's why they say sleep. Kids who are studying should sleep after studying, because you get that sleep, your learning gets enhanced. You don't get that sleep, you will again have to read. You have to keep on mugging. But if you use your sleep correctly, it will ensure that you're able to remember it and throw it out during the exam. So that is the advantage of sleep. So your brain becomes like this dirty kitchen when you don't sleep. And obviously, any of you who are house proud know that for us to operate properly, we need to have a clean kitchen, and that happens only during sleep. Okay, so in terms of, this is called a hypnogram, and this is a architecture. This is actually the architecture of sleep. So we have 1, 2. I'll show you the next thing in which makes it a little easier. Okay, that is not here. So there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are 5. What do you call it? Curves. When you go to sleep at night, you are in an awake state. Then you go into an REM sleep state. Actually, you skip the REM sleep when you fall into sleep. Then stage 1, light sleep. Then mid sleep. Then deep sleep. So, and then you come back up through mid sleep, light sleep, and REM sleep. Sometimes you even touch awake state. So this one cycle lasts 90 minutes. And we sleep for 5 such cycles. So 5 cycles of 90 minutes gives us our 7.5 hours of sleep. And that half an hour extra, why we say 8 hours, is it may take you 15-20 minutes to fall asleep. And sometimes you're awake in the middle for 5-10 minutes. So together, it's between 7.5 to 8 hours. This is the architecture of the right sleep volume for human beings. Is that clear? Now, I would like you to ask questions in this diagram itself, because it becomes easier. Those of you who have questions can ask me right now before we move ahead from this.
No questions from my end.
I have a question.
Yes.
So sometimes you wake up in the middle of the night, say around like 2:30 or 3:30, and you're not able to go back to sleep that easily.
Yeah.
And it takes about an hour or so, or sometimes you may have to wake up and do certain other things. So why does that happen? You're tired the previous night and you definitely want to go to sleep, but this doesn't kick in as you expected it to.
The why, I mean, there are many reasons. I mean, one of them could be too many thoughts. So if your mind is hyperactive, then it's possible that is, you're working on things. So it's not allowing you to sleep. Second could be, you're not fully physically tired. You've not exercised before previous night. So your body is not fully tired. Then also it is possible it's awake. Third is there could be a medical condition. There could be breathing impairment. There could be any, there are about 10, 20 such reasons why it could happen. So this thing of whether it happens every night, whether it's something which, this is something you have to observe and find for yourself on what days it happens. Does it happen every night or only some days?
Some days, I mean, not regularly. I mean,
yeah.
once in a blue moon.
Yeah. So there's something called sleep hygiene. So if you follow that sleep hygiene, you just have to Google it. I also have it in my blog and other things. It's there in my program also. In the sleep hygiene, you'll know how you should prepare for sleep. So if you prepared yourself for sleep, then your ability to reduce these impacts will be better, especially if there's no other issues. So there's an underlying medical condition, then that might have to be looked at. But if it's a non-medical condition, it can be handled.
Okay. Thank you.
What do the stages signify?
Come again?
What do the stages signify? Deeper sleep?
Yeah. So it is a brain wave. Actually, when you're in an awake state, your brain, that is, when you're totally awake, that is daytime, you're on beta waves. The beta waves is like there's a lot of squiggly lines. Then your awakened state is when you get into alpha state. Alpha state is slightly deeper lines. Then stage 1, stage 2, and stage 3 is where stage 3 will be delta state. Delta waves. Delta waves are very even and deeper waves. So that's when you get into deep sleep. That's what happens in the brain. We have an electrical current running in our head and our body. And that is what gets picked up by ECGs. The machines where you get your ECG reading and EEG reading is because of the electrical wave inside us. So during different sleep stages, we have different waves running. That's how they measure where in what stage we are sleeping. That's how scientists measure it.
Right, thank you.
Okay, welcome. So, yeah, okay, these are the waves here. Yeah, so the alpha waves, awake but resting, that is just before you drop to sleep. The beta waves is when you're normally awake. But that same beta waves can be created in REM sleep also. When you're in rapid eye movement sleep, what happens is you're actually recreating your daytime activity. You're doing a Google search on what all the different things you've encountered, and you're trying to make sense out of it and store it in the right place. That's what the brain is doing when you're asleep. So because it has got so much of inputs, it's now trying to organize what it doesn't need, what it needs, where to store. All of that activity is happening. Now it is possible that your body starts moving, your muscles and others start, because you're actually enacting something. So what it does is there's something called pons, okay, which cuts off the messaging going to the spine, so that your nervous system is cut out from your brain. So the brain, though it is awake, it's almost like awake. That's why you have those eye movement happening. Though it's almost awake, but you don't act it out. You don't act out your dream because it's been cut out. So your brain may be in beta waves during REM sleep, between beta and alpha, but you're not really enacting it out. Theta waves is when you're drowsy or sleepy state. That is your light and mid sleep. Theta waves is light to mid sleep. Delta waves is mid to deep sleep. That's what happens then. Clear? So these are the physiological things which happen during NREM. So there are two types of sleep. As you saw, the REM sleep you saw in the hypnogram earlier, that comes less in the early part. The first 3 stages, you get less REM sleep, more light and deep sleep. And in the 4th and 5th stage, you get a lot of REM sleep. So the second half. So if you go to bed at 10 o'clock, at 4 and half, 2:30 onwards or 3 onwards, you get into your second 2 stages of sleep. No, 4, yeah. So 2:30 to 3 hours is 5:30. 2:30 to 5:30 will be your REM sleep. And that is where you get your maximum dreams. And that's, most of us wake up around that time. So we end up remembering the dreams. Those who don't, not everybody dreams, but it's not required that you remember it. So the brain activity during NREM is decreasing from wakefulness, and during REM it increases. It becomes like almost it is awake. Heart
What
rate,
is NREM?
NREM, non-REM sleep. That
Okay.
is light, mid, and deep sleep. What
Not
I
lightweight.
showed you here in the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. These are all NREM sleep. And REM sleep is only in the... So you are able to see this, right? That REM sleep is longer in the second half. If you notice, from 3 o'clock onwards, it is much longer. You see more of red. But between midnight to 3, between 11 o'clock to 3, 11 p.m. to 3, the red is very less. But there's a lot of red post that. That's because the duration of that is much more. Clear?
Okay. So you start with NREM and then go to REM.
Yeah, actually, in every 90 minutes, you slip through a few seconds of REM, get into NREM sleep. And then you come back up to REM and then slip back again to NREM sleep. So it's a waveform. All right, every 90 minutes is one cycle. And you have to go through all 4 stages to get there. You have to go from awake state to REM state to light sleep, deep sleep. All of that you go through.
Okay.
So the muscle tone during NREM is similar to wakefulness, but since mind is cut off, it does, and there's no thoughts running of action. Like during REM only, your thoughts are, you're reenacting things. It's like you're stage playing something, okay, to work out how it happens. That is why you have that as dreams. So your body could move. So that is why during REM, it is absent. Muscle tone is absent. It's cut off. But in NREM, it is like you're awake, but there is no movement. You've lost consciousness. So blood flow, respiration, airway resistance, you can read all of that. So that's basically how the difference between NREM and REM sleep. We'll move on from this. Okay. So any doubts up to this?
I'm just waiting to ask questions.
Pardon?
I said I'm waiting to ask questions once you're done with all this.
Yeah, 5:43. Okay. So in terms of sleep, the why we need to, because this first part of it is about why. Okay, and then we will look at what we can do to overcome these things. In Q&A, we can do that. So it heals the physical body. That is the first reason why you need to sleep. Okay, because your organs are getting repaired, your dead cells are getting flushed out, cortisol levels, the stress levels are lowered. So automatically, you don't need BP tablets if you're sleeping properly. The BP tablets are taken because you've not got proper healthy sleep yourself.
Here, I'd also like to say that if you're doing regular pranayama, you don't need to take BP tablets.
Absolutely, you don't need that too. Because pranayama, when you do it in the right manner, it's almost like you're recreating those delta waves.
Yes.
Like deep sleep, the recreation happens during meditation, pranayama.
Absolutely.
Okay, so cortisol levels are lowered. Sleep time is your housekeeping time for your body and toxins to be removed and cellular level repairs to happen. And it's all free. You don't have to do anything to get this. No payment of money, no going and visiting doctors. All of this is happening free. Okay. Second, it protects you from accidents. Accidents happen because of, let's say you've been awake for 18 to 20 hours and then you take the car out. You're almost like a drunken driver. If 20 hours you've been awake and you take the car, you're as good as a drunken driver. Actually, it's worse because drunken driver reaction time is slowed. I mean, he's seeing things happening slowly. While a micro sleep, when an episode happens, you sleep for 3 to 5 seconds. And that is the time it takes for your car to drift from one lane to another. So you can either face oncoming traffic or get hit by it. That's how maximum deaths happen because of this micro sleep. People have not as much for drunk driving as much as for the fact that people are driving without enough sleep. That is the biggest cause of accidents. Second, aging prematurely, becoming fat, protecting, heart attacks, early death, Alzheimer's, all of that can be protected or reduced by getting the right amount of sleep. Your brain, we already discussed a lot about what it does for brain. Memory, because it moves from short term to long term. When we say you're forgetting things, that's probably because you're not sleeping properly. Cognition, decision making, problem solving, critical thinking, everything is impacted by your right sleep. When you give yourself the right sleep. Looks, you want youthful looks, you want your skin tone to improve, suppleness, reduce wrinkles. So you don't have to go to beauty parlor also. You can get your beauty sleep, you will be equally good looking. A lot of models, people are there in front of the camera. For them now sleep, it's now because scientists have brought this to their attention in the last 10 years, people are now conscious of the fact that they have to get sleep. A high performance athlete, people who are in front of the camera, all of them now know that there's no equivalent to natural sleep. Okay, so getting your full sleep does all of this. It gives you this beauty parlor treatment. Second, your relationships improve because your stress levels are less, you're calmer, you're relaxed, you're more loving, and you connect better with people. Your career and finance. See, a lot of people steal from sleep because they want to invest it in their business or career. Okay, mostly that. Very rarely it is for hobbies, watching a football match, cricket match, things like that. But more often than not, it is for work, late night calls, overseas calls, different time zones interaction, or finishing a project deadline. All of that impacts because you believe that sleep is not complaining. I can take away 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, So you negotiate with sleep and you push away your body to stay awake so that you are more productive. But the fact is your output has got reduced drastically. And the next day you're going to be functioning less. So typically what is happening is, suppose let's say 100 is your productivity score. If you got 8 hours sleep, you will be at 100 when you show up the next day. But if you got 6 hours sleep or 7 hours sleep, you will probably be at 95. The second and third day and fourth day, when you continue to do 6 hours sleep, what is happening is you're now at 85 or 80. You do it for a week, 1 month, 2 months, then you're at 70 or 60. So your mean, what you will see is, I am like this only, I forget things, or I make these mistakes. I am like that. It's not that you are like that. It is that you denied your body and mind the sleep, which would have given you the option to be 100%. So that is how important that is. Can 8 hours be broken up? Tony, I'll discuss that with you. Yes, it can be broken up. We will discuss that. Now, hormonal production. See, now these are things which have been designed, as I told you, a few million years back. Okay, and it's happening by itself. We cannot control it. Suppose you don't show up for sleep. What is happening? These hormone productions are not happening. So straight away, your human growth hormone, which gives you more energy, builds muscle, is not happening. Which is why nowadays they tell professional athletes to get their sleep, because they know after a training they should get sleep, because that helps them to repair the toned tissues, the toned muscles, so that it can perform again the next day. Second, it will remember, the memory of the muscle will be held when you get sleep. You don't get sleep, again and again you have to keep repeating your learning. And then it builds BAT, which burns body fat, melatonin, which helps you sleep. The melatonin itself decreases your cortisol and invokes the production of beneficial hormones. All of this happens when you're sleeping, and it is free. Okay, so these are the benefits of your sleep, which all of you know how to do from when you're a baby. In fact, nobody needs to teach you, but some of us have wrong information, because of which I thought I should conduct this so that you understand what is the right way to do it. Now we'll open it up to FAQs so that we can, I will stop the share so it's easier for us to interact. So I'm now open to questions so far. And one was Tony, you had asked about can 8 hours be broken up? Yes, it can be broken up. It's called polyphasic sleep. So there are certain communities like I think even in India, there are quite a few people who have this habit of sleeping 6 hours at night and 2 hours in the afternoon. So that's possible. That is okay. It can be done. But that 6 hours should ideally be done between 10 and 4 or 11 and 5 kind of a thing. Because this timing of 11 and 4 is extremely critical. 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. is when all of those benefits you saw, no? It happens only at that time. That same 6 hours you get in the daytime, let's say you're a night shift worker. You come back home at 6 in the morning or 7 in the morning and you sleep up to 1 or 2 non-stop. You get your 8 hours sleep. Okay. It is not the same as you sleeping between 10 p.m. and 5 a.m. It is not the same. You will not get you will get the rest, but you don't get the healing of those organs. You don't get all of those production of those hormones, which are important for your brain development, your body development, all of them get set by sleeping at a different time because you're going against your circadian clock. Tony, is that clear? Are you there, Tony? Okay. What about oversleep? That's another question that you had asked. Tony, are you there? I'm not able to see you. Okay, probably missed out. Any other questions? Those who are here, you can ask questions. I will answer them.
Iggy,
Yeah.
one
Sharan,
question.
Got that, Ignatius. Thank you.
Tony, you got that. Okay, great.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, welcome. So who was next? Senthil, is it?
Yeah, yes, Iggy.
Yeah, Senthil.
What about sleep during afternoon? Maybe a nap for 30 minutes, 45 minutes.
Yeah.
What does it do to the body?
Yeah, it kind of recharges you. So let's assume you got 7.5 hours of sleep at night and you're getting a 20-minute, 30-minute nap. It's perfectly okay. So some people get their full 7 hours sleep and still take another 30 minutes. That's okay. Or you can have 6 hours sleep in the night and get 1.5 hours sleep in the afternoon. That's also that 1.5 hours sleep is a full cycle. That's when you go into deep sleep, REM sleep, and come back home. You get
Deep sleep, I'm able to do it. What is REN? ARYAN? You're talking about REN?
REM, rapid eye movement sleep.
REM sleep. Okay.
Rapid eye movement sleep.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. So they operate in that 90-minute chunks. That's how it works.
I have another question.
Yeah, go ahead, Tony.
If somebody is sleeping 10 hours every day,
Yeah.
an adult, what does that indicate?
So there are multiple reasons. One of the reasons could be that they have not got their full sleep because they may have a block like snoring problem or some type of breathing issue, which is not supplying sufficient oxygen to the brain. So they have not actually got that full sleep because of the constriction in their air passage. Now that is one reason why you could be want longer sleep. But you need to correct it because that's not a good thing, and it can end up in stroke. The worst is stroke, but it can also impact, it will give you irregular sleep because you have to suddenly wake up when you're snoring or suddenly you get a constriction in your throat, you feel breathless and you have to wake up. So it doesn't give you a good sleep, and also your partner also is going to get affected by this. So It's better to get that treated.
Right, thank you.
Yeah, sure.
And in a year, there are about a couple of days where people have missed the sleep pattern. For example, December 25th or January 1st, right? Or some other function. Every religion has one or two, right? So what happens? Is that going to help the people, or when we say people have to go to bed, why are these things in the night then? Mass in the night. People go to temple in the night. People get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So we have cultural, religious, and other occasions where based on that we change our lifestyle. So whether it impacts the body, yes, even one night's sleep of less, that is 6 hours sleep, just 6 hours sleep, apparently impacts you. Just one night has an impact that's been discovered in the lab. That's been proven. Okay. But the thing is, our body is so forgiving. It takes a lot of crap from us. We put the wrong food, we breathe in the wrong way, we don't do exercise, we sit in a wrong fashion, we don't have a balanced posture. All of that, it adjusts and it somehow makes you live. That is it. It somehow makes you survive and somehow tries to find a balance within that. It's like these trucks, which go like this on the highway. Have you seen? Truck will be like this. What will be going? Have you seen such trucks?
Yes.
Yeah. So those trucks have got settled in that particular, discomfort. They are in that sense of discomfort and still they are able to operate. But it is not that they can operate for a long time. One day, one thing will break. If they have been normal, their lifespan, let us say, is like 1 lakh kilometers or 10 lakh kilometers. But when they drive like this, instead of 1 lakh kilometers, it becomes 30,000 kilometers or 20. So there's a cut short which happens. So that's what happens with one night. You may break it by 1 day, 2 day you lost. You keep doing it again and again. The days become months, months become years, and then decades. Like I started this last year, this time is when my friend died from lack of sleep. Okay. This person was less than 40. His 40th birthday was May 9th. May 1st, he was dead. Okay. From lack of sleep. He had no other issues. So the heart just stopped.
Yeah. When you say lack of sleep, whether people, if they sleep till 4 o'clock in the morning, do you think it's good? They can get up at 4 in the morning and then become active, or they should get up only after 5:30?
His schedule was like this because he was excellent in whether it's a Rotary or his company, a family, everything he took care of. He was a great person, okay, very lovable person. And the thing is, he gave himself more than 100%. So after people go to sleep, he'll continue to do some work for 1-2 hours. Then he wakes up early so he can go for his walk, run. He was a marathoner. Okay, so he had clean eating habits, he had good exercise, took care of his family, he took care of his company. Everything he gave is 100% because he wanted to be excellent in whatever he did. But because of lack of knowledge, from school onwards, he's been doing it. That's how I got to know, because a school friend of his called me and told me. I didn't know that he had this habit. And this was a reason. The school friend told me about it, and then I checked and found that that is how he used to be. So consistently over years, that means from, let's say, 15 to 40. So 25 years, 25 years, he led life like a prince. He did extremely well. But he could not lead his full life. He was still so much of potential. He could have gone on. We were looking at him becoming, Rotary governor, and not just in Rotary, but also in other things. He was so good, all right. But he's no more because he just cranked himself up to a point. So this is why I gave it this example as a truck and other things, because you're cutting short your own life. By cutting short that 1 hour and 2 hours, we are cutting short our own life. That's how critical it is. Clear?
Got it. Thanks.
Yeah. So 1 day, 2 day doesn't matter, but be aware that you're cutting down. Otherwise, you can't live to 100 or 120. That is a design of the human body. There are people living to 110 and 120. That means our body has the ability to live up to 100 and 120. If some people are dying at 60 and 50 and 40, it is because they chose to lead a life where they have reduced their own lifespan. Right?
Okay, got it.
Yeah. Okay.
Right. So I have a question, Iggy.
Yeah.
So you see, sometimes physical activity, lack of physical activity can, may impede your sleeping very deeply. But on some days, like even when you have been like physically active, like walked kilometers together, even on those days, like you're not able to catch that full 6 or 7 hours of sleep, and you end up sleeping late because your body is too tired, or you wake up early. So how do we manage that?
So when you want to get your sleep under control, the first step is for you to allow the first 2 to, let's say, first 1 month, where things may go out of hand. But what you need to do is, when your body wants to sleep, go to sleep first. Don't control, that is after 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. Okay. So allow it to go to sleep. Second is, wake up when the body wakes up on its own without an alarm clock. Then only you know how much sleep you actually need. When we use an alarm clock, and what is happening is, in an alarm clock, mid-cycle our sleep is cut. That 90-minute thing is not happening. Halfway it's getting cut and we are being pulled out. Correct. So that truncated sleep builds up. So a sleep deficit, it's called. It puts a pressure on us. So even though that day you might have done okay, but your accumulated sleep deficit may be drawing up on it. So till you flush it out, the accumulated sleep deficit, you will not know how many hours you actually need, right?
Right. I have another related question also. For women who are hitting 40, 45, they're going through the menopausal stage, and there are a lot of hormonal changes happening in their body. Now, how does this affect sleep and other activity, and how do those kind of women manage?
Yeah, it will definitely affect. See, as I said, we are a very delicate or a very sophisticated piece of machinery. So any misalignment of any hormone would affect. So it's about how to counter it, how to work around it, so that you will be able to. So in terms of, I'm sure you might need to, I'm not qualified to say as a doctor what is to be done. So it's best you get checked with a doctor if there's something specific you need. But basically it's about first giving yourself that self-love and self-care, because one is your physician treating you. Second is you treating yourself, because he cannot, there are two different streams. If you treat yourself right and you start giving yourself self-love and looking clearly at what is happening inside you, your answers are within you. It will tell you, do you need more water? Do you need more rest? Do you need, as you start following this, you would find that there's an ability to correct your system and help you to settle. But it's a very simplistic way. Okay, I need a deeper interaction to be able to really make out, but you need to work along with a medical professional if there's a very big swing in terms of, because where the hormones are swinging, somebody, a medical professional will need to tell you right. But there is a way to counter it if you have the right, like what Sharad is doing, where he does pranayama and meditation. Then you become more sensitive to knowing what is happening inside you. And you become more sensitive to how to correct, because the answers are also within us. Okay, but most times we totally believe the physician and forget the fact that you have an inner power inside you which can help you do it. But in terms of sleep, that 8-hour sleep will definitely help you. If you're not getting it, there's a certain sleep hygiene which will help you get it. And we can work towards that. On a personalized basis, because this is something which should take more time. It's not something you can just answer here like this.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
I understand.
Okay. Anybody else want to contribute on that? Probably Divya, do you have anything to answer on that? Divya is a nutritionist, by the way.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, as ma'am has asked, Like for during menopause, like you have very clearly told that the only doctors can tell you that what hormonal changes is happening there in your body. But actually, as a lady, just after 40-45 years, the main problem with us that we start at after reaching 40, we self-realization happens in our body and mind. We started thinking in different way. The person we used to be there in our 30s is a different person now at the age of 40. So we start comparing that why we are not getting. At the same time, when hormonal changes are there are so many new thought process happens in our mind. So we need to control, and the only way that I believe and whatsoever my guidelines are, just love yourself. So do meditation, whatsoever your body is requiring. If you are feeling tired at the end of the day, so you should give that proper rest to your body, eat healthy food, avoid just like it's habit of ladies that whatsoever is left over at home, whatsoever is there left over on the dining table, we feel that we should not waste that food and we consume those food. And this is like we are obese at 40s. So these are the problem. This is not only the sleep problem. There are n number of problem and everything is interrelated. We need to counter each and every problem happening in our body. So sleep is not the only issue. We need a complete package like good nutritional diet, balanced diet, good sleeping hygiene and habit, physical exercise and mental exercise is must. At the same time, we should stop saying no to everybody in our home that we are tired and somebody is, if some thought or somebody's behavior is hurting us, we should immediately say no. These practices actually helps. Not only from nutritional side, I am telling, as I'm a wellness therapist also, I know these are the small practice and these hurts and the stress factor in our mind tells that give us so much of a stress as night that we are not able to sleep. If we will solve all these problems one by one, we will definitely get good sleep. So this is my take, sir.
Thank you, Divya. We also have Dr. Sujata Verma with us and Dr. Dhruti with us. So we have medical professionals here also. If they'd like to speak about that also, they could help. So Karkuli, this is a deeper subject, of course. I'm not sure these doctors are in a position to speak now because they might be in the clinic. So, yes, but they also listen in.
No, that was a very generic question that I asked you because like a lot of people go through this. So I just wanted to understand there are a combination of factors that are working and whether you have any insights around that.
Thumb rule is, it's all about self-care. The thumb rule basically here is about self-care. Okay. If you care for yourself, you will allow yourself the rest of 8 hours first. Okay, because today we have to negotiate with people to give themselves that 8 hours because life is so full that there's so much of stressors on our time that we have the fear of missing out. We have FOMO, right? Oh, if I sleep like this, I'll miss on this or miss on that. And so we want to do everything. Okay. So that self-care, if you start having, and make this integral to you, the 8 hours. 2 is be aware of your body and what is happening to it and give yourself that care, affection, and love. The TLC, tender loving care, if you give yourself, 80% of your issues start disappearing. Okay, and then of course you can sign in for our programs or get a one-to-one with people who can help you do this. It's possible to overcome 80% of these issues. If
Sir, sorry, sir. Sorry for interrupting, sir. One more thing, like these hormonal issues, like at the menopause, we are suffering. Ladies suffers at the same time because of stress. There are so many other hormones are secreting in our body, and these hormones affect us catabolically. It's not anabolically. They are all doing negative things. So we are thinking just about the menopause. It's the years and years we have collected so much of stress, and at the age of 40 or 45 we self-realization all of a sudden happens to us and we start demanding and our stress level goes up and everything everything goes for a toss. So this is the reason: self-love, self-love, self-love. This is the only mantra. If you will start understanding yourself and what actually you are requiring from your own life, all your problem will go away from your life. Menopause will be an easy journey. You will pass through very easily. Thank you.
Super, thank you. So if there are...
Hi.
Yeah.
Hi. Hi.
Hi, go ahead.
Yeah. Just a quick note, because during the menopause, most of the female face a middle age crisis, and appreciation and attentions are deprived. So basically, your estrogen level drops down badly. What happens with the sleep pattern is, during the menopause period, dysmenorrhea affects you badly, and then there are 94% of female would have difficulty in sleeping. There shall be hot flashes, irritability, night sweats, a lot of things because of your drop level of your estrogens. So what the lady told, Divya wasn't it?
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah. So what she told is absolutely correct. But at this particular point of time, women requires her spouse's support and children's support as well. So a family which will be functional, she will get through very well. And that can be basic social support she requires. Because there are a lot of changes in the body, and then she does not appreciate her own body as well. So that support is very much required.
So you need mental strength and meditation to realize your self-worth, because like
you do that, right? But when you live with persons in a family, a spouse requires to understand, the children requires to understand.
That is everything. That everybody goes through this phase in their life. But if you will start following, like, you know, that 45, I am going to reach, like in next 3 or 4 years, I am going to reach up to that stage. If you will start like preventive care, if you will change your eating habits, if you will change your lifestyle, all of a sudden at the age of 45, one fine day you will say that I am not getting sleep and I should change myself. That is also feasible in next 4 months or 5 months or 6 months, I can say so. Your family will also get adjusted that this is new person in my family, which they never realize that you are existing there. This is the main issue. And you change your eating habits, the way you are treating your family member, obviously they will also start changing themselves. Start doing exercise, physical and mental exercise, like devote some 10 minutes or 15 minutes time in the morning for meditation. You will definitely see the change. Ladies are suffering because they don't know the exact thing. Either they are following some diet plan, or somebody is just following hitting the gym, or they are, but it's a combination of everything, like good nutritional habits, sleep practices, physical exercise, mental exercise in terms of meditation, and very important, loving yourself. Till the time you will not love yourself, nobody, no family member of yours can help you. So you should realize your self-worth, because I am prescribing this practice to all the ladies whosoever had joined my program, and they are getting benefit. Someday or other day, we need to realize that I am this person. And what is my expectation from my life? Because we have also got only one life. So the day you will realize this, everything will be sorted out. This is not a very big issue. This is very simple issue.
Thank you, Divya. I think
Thank you, sir.
didn't expect such a big answer from this anyway.
sorry, yeah. But I thought I must clear this thing, because this is a very simple issue, but we have made this as a very big issue that is not there.
Thank you. We'll move on from this question. Otherwise,
yes,
sir. All quiet.
Okay.
They're not able to. But I'm sure you got some tips on how to handle your spouse during those times. So it's important that we also give them self-worth. I mean, it is a two-way thing. Both of us, as Dr. Dhruti was saying, the family also is equally involved in the well-being of the lady of the house. So, but each one needs to love themselves, whether male or female, and love and respect their own, people they are with, so that together we can build. Because it's not about being. See, first you have to clean yourself. Then we have to work with other people around you, so that we can all have a clean family, and then that's how we grow this whole thing. Okay, so thanks. Next question do we have, or shall I go back to this presentation. Any other questions?
Yeah, I had a question.
Yes, go ahead.
This is sleep related, of course. Now, I have been suffering from insomnia since, I think, childhood. Okay. Since childhood, I have been suffering from chronic acute insomnia. Like I think even in school, in my 9th and 10th, I remember I would read a book. I'd start a book at night and I'd read it right through to the morning, the hours of morning, say about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
And then probably just, lie down, relax with my eyes shut, but not sleeping. And then, of course, get up, change my clothes into the school uniform, and then go to school. Come back feeling tired. Now, somewhere down the line, I realized that I have a huge amount of excessive energy levels in me. And I had nobody to explain anything to me. So I developed my own mechanisms and ways of how to deal with it, which were not very positive. Let me tell you that. I lived life on the edge. I'm actually a psychologist by profession, though I'm probably one of the most unconventional psychologists you would ever probably come across. I don't believe in the book stuff. I believe more in experience. And whatever I say which is based on my experience in my life.
Okay.
Yeah, so I have led a life literally on the edge. I'm 60 years old. I turned 60 last month. But I'm very happy today. I'd just like to share with you that I discovered a couple of years back how to deal with my sleep.
How to?
Deal with my excessive energy and my sleep.
Okay.
And that is where, I had been practicing pranayama since almost 2 decades. However, it wasn't consistent. And there would be these bouts or breaks in between where, I'd just do my own thing, my way or the highway kind of a thing. And so it was only a couple of years back that I realized if I consistently follow this, because somewhere I realized it would make a difference, but then I wouldn't care. I wouldn't wait. It was like, I need results and I need them now. I can't wait. I was like that. And then I discovered the power of pranayama breathing techniques, slowly from basic to advanced techniques. And I found that even if I do not sleep, there are days when I'm just lying down, my eyes are shut, but I'm awake to all the sounds around me. My thoughts are not that very many at that particular point of time. However, I'm awake, I know that. Slightest sound, my eyes would open. And the best part is in the morning when I'd wake up, I wouldn't be tired. Fortunately, the work that I'm doing at the moment, I counsel, of course, that's one of my fortes. And I also teach pranayama techniques. I'm also the director of a health enhancement center called 6 Dots Health Enhancement Center in Chennai. We have a couple of centers out here. And I find that, whatever you said, Ignatius, first of all, hats off to you here for taking this great step to, reach out to people. Not very many people do that. We speak about it, but then we don't implement it. Yeah, so fantastic. Congratulations. And, I will endorse everything that you've said. I would like to add to it and say that if, like you called me an outlier, okay, I've always thought of myself as one. I've always felt different. I've always felt away from the crowd. Even in a crowd, sometimes I felt very, very alone, but in a happy way. And I observe. I'm the kind of a person who just observes. And believe me, there is an absolute carnal delight, in observing. It's like crazy. It's amazing. And people don't realize what they're doing, what they're saying, their acts, and I don't know. So I learn. I'm constantly learning. And I find today that practicing pranayama, especially the bandhas, which I've started doing, it, like you said, relationships. So basically what happens is I get clarity. There is so much of clarity. And I also realize there is no, Kundalini opening and awakenings and stuff like that. It's all about your chakras opening up and awareness coming in. Basically, you become so aware of everything, you know, your smell, taste, looking at things from a different perspective. You change your perspective, you know, and
The light
yeah.
What happened?
No, I think somebody had to be muted. No problem. Okay. So,
yeah. So,
what is the question? Is that a question or a statement?
Yeah, the question is, does it really matter if you don't sleep for more than 2 to 3 hours?
Yeah. So you're saying you're sleeping for 2 to 3 hours for the last 45 years.
No, I'm not sleeping for 2 to 3 hours in the last 45 years. However, of late, since I've increased my pranayama from just doing it once to twice a day, you know, mornings and evenings, I find the need to sleep is becoming lesser and lesser and lesser.
Okay, to answer your question, one is whether it is possible to operate with very less sleep. Okay, for you. And
correct.
Correct. That is, I think, intrinsic question there. So apparently, there's 1 in 20,000 who has a gene which allows them to sleep for very less. Okay, it doesn't. Not everybody has that, so it's like 1 in 20,000. Okay. So it's something that you can actually get it checked also in a proper sleep lab, where you'll find out whether you have such a gene. Because if you do, then you are the outlier there. Okay. So you have.
My mentor says that, Sharad, when you feel sleepy, sleep. See, because after I complete my functional training in the morning and then do my pranayama, I do a 61-minute relaxation technique, okay, where I just relax for about half an hour, and that completely relaxes me.
That's equal to 4 hours of deep sleep. See, if you do yoga nidra for half an hour or 1 hour, it's equivalent to 4 hours of deep sleep. So there are practices in yoga. There are practices in yoga.
Yes.
So I understand there are yogis living in the Himalayas who don't even sleep. I mean, so for years they sleep, but they are living in meditation. So that's a different aspect.
I'm not a yogi, but yeah, I'm finding that, you know, all this is making a lot of difference.
Possible. Why I'm bringing it up is to say that it is possible. We don't understand FC. Science knows certain things.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
it doesn't know everything.
Very true.
I'm leaving.
Yeah. Yeah, she said she was leaving.
Oh, okay. No problem. So basically, you need to see whether if you are totally unimpaired, you're 100%, and you're able to survive on 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever is working for you. That's perfectly okay. All right. As long as you're 100% unimpaired, but that needs to be actually checked. Because sometimes, like I was telling about that truck thinks it is normal. This is the way I am. So sometimes, because our mind plays tricks on us, it makes us think that this is me. But it may be me because of some,
Possible.
Okay. So it is just that. So as long as it completely you are without effect, contra effect because of this, you're fine, because you're the best. First, you're the best judge of your own body, your own energy.
Yeah. And there's no point in lying to myself. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So once you've got that right, there is. Absolutely. And as you said, you're 60 and you're still chugging along happily.
I'm happy, man. I'm so grateful. I count my blessings every day.
Yeah.
I'm able to, you know, be active and do whatever I want to do. And so I love trekking.
Perfect. Excellent. Trekking also. Very good.
Yeah. I love trekking. I love traveling. I drive.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I just.
Okay. Super. Any other questions do we have, or can we wind up 1 minute? Because any other questions on this? Kalyani, you came in a little late. I'm not sure if you followed anything. I will just do a quick wrap up of the FAQs.
So I'm sorry I joined in late. I didn't want to miss your session.
No problem, Kalyani. So just a quick FAQ round, which might help you to catch up with how many hours of sleep is required. Can anybody answer? Because you know the answers already. So
6 to 8.
Pardon?
6 to 8.
8 hours, 7.5. That 5 cycles of 1.5 hours each is important. So 6 to 8 they say, but 7.5 hours is a good time. What is the right time to sleep and wake up?
10:30 to 5.
10:30 to 5. Perfect, Senthil. Yeah, thank you. Can we sleep in 2 or more installments?
I can.
You said yes.
Yes. That's called polyphasic sleep. It's allowed.
Yeah.
Is daytime sleep okay?
Yeah, you told yes.
Yes.
Yes. If it's once, like you sleep.
Double S.
Yeah. So Kalyani is very happy. Daytime sleep. So, can we nap in the afternoon? Yes. What time should we exercise? Best time is morning, but remember, don't exercise just before sleeping. Maximum exercise can be done at 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I'll endorse that. It's true.
But don't do just before sleeping because body temperature rises. To get good sleep, your body temperature should lower.
No, before how many hours sleep? Before how many hours in the evening?
4 hours before sleep, any hectic exercise, just light walk and all is okay. Light yoga is okay. But where your heart is pumping, you're sweating, that's something you should do at least 3 to 4 hours before sleep.
Okay.
So what time so why can't I watch TV before I sleep? Come on, answer that. Answer, come on.
I can answer for myself because if I watch TV before I go to sleep, my mind becomes super active.
Yes.
It becomes hyperactive. Yeah.
Super. And it's also the blue rays. Apparently, the blue light prevents the production of melatonin.
Yeah.
So there is a scientific thing that blue light diminishes the production of melatonin, and melatonin production is required for us to sleep. Yeah. Eighth, only if I have a drink I can sleep. Is that
I can't sleep if I have a drink.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So the drunken sleep is not equal to to regular sleep because a healthy sleep is without drink, without caffeine. Why is coffee not good to have in the evening or night? Because caffeine has a half-life. I've not answered it. Coffee's half-life is 6 hours, quarter life is 12 hours. It takes 12 hours to flush out the coffee from your blood. And only when it's flushed out, do you have natural sleep. There are some people who can sleep even though they had coffee. Let's say they had coffee at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the evening. They may be able to sleep because they're used to it, but they're not getting their deep sleep. They're not getting the proper brain waves, which gives them the full benefit of a normal, healthy sleep. That is the difference.
This doesn't apply to tea?
Caffeine, actually. So tea is included.
Tea is also.
Soft drinks are included. And some desserts. That also has like certain chocolate or coffee, ice creams and all of that have it. They all have caffeine. So if there is caffeine, caffeine's half-life is 6 hours, quarter life is 12 hours. So, and it will impair your sleep. You should be just aware of it. Some days you want to have, it's okay. But
so evening after 4 o'clock, you're not supposed to have. Evening after 4 o'clock, you're not supposed to have coffee or tea.
After 11 in the morning, you should not have.
Oh, after 11.
No evening tea, is it?
Tea or green tea or something is okay, or but tea has lesser caffeine. So basically, the amount of caffeine is much less. By the way, decaf also has caffeine. Decaf has 1/6 caffeine. So you have to watch that. Are sleeping pills okay? Yes or no?
No.
No. Yes, because it's not the same as sleep. I wake up with the alarm and I put it on snooze and I wake up after some time. Is that okay?
No.
Also no. Yes, because straight away I feel tired in the morning after sleep. Why?
I haven't had a proper sleep.
Yes, you didn't have proper sleep. You might have sleep apnea. You might have snoring. You might have other obstructions or not enough hours. As simple as I'm drowsy the whole day. Again, lack of sleep. I get too many dreams. Is that okay?
I guess it's okay.
Yes, it's okay. Yeah, perfect. So it takes me a long time to sleep after going to bed. What should I do? Okay, I didn't cover. So meditation. I mean, there's a whole subject called sleep hygiene. If you just search sleep hygiene, you'll get it. You'll find out how to do it, or you can attend my program. There also we teach this for those who are finding it tough to sleep.
Okay, quick question related to this same 15 point. It takes a long time to sleep after going to bed. What should I do? So there are times when I find that about 1:30, 2 o'clock, if I'm not able to sleep at all, I just get up and start doing some activity.
Okay.
I don't take it negatively. I just start doing some activity. Like sometimes I even get up and start cleaning.
Okay.
And yeah, I find cleaning to be a fantastic therapy. Okay.
Cleaning, absolutely.
So, and after that, maybe after about 45 minutes or so, I am all right to to go and lie down, and then I feel comfort. And I probably doze off after that and wake up maximum by 5:30 I have to get up.
Very good. Actually, you discovered the right thing. If you're not getting sleep in bed, you should not lie down in bed more than 15 minutes. Go and do something else which is relaxing. So when you feel relaxed and you're ready to sleep, come back to bed. That is the right method to do it. So I've shared my contact details, and I'll also put you on the email list, all of you. I'm going to send tips on a daily basis on.
I'm going to take down your mobile number.
Yeah.
Iggy, there is an additional number in your mobile number. There are 11 numbers, I guess.
Oh my God.
Yeah, there are 11.
29580. Yeah, thank you. Karkuli, thank you so much. 29580. That was really sharp.
So it's 9840.
That means you got a good sleep, Karkuli. You don't have to worry. You're not sleep deprived.
Yeah. No, I'm not really worried actually. I do a lot of breath work. I take care of myself really well. I do all that. But there were some general questions that came up for other people that I've been meeting.
Okay.
But I got a lot of wonderful tips and suggestions and a lot of insights about sleep itself.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So we have already reached 7:30. I mean 6:30, like I mentioned.
Yeah.
So we will keep in touch. I will be
getting in touch with you, Vignesh. Certainly, there are a whole lot of other stuff which I'd love to speak with you about. Yeah.
Super. Let's do that. Look forward to building this relationship.
Likewise.